Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Intake. My name is Philip. Who's sitting over there next to me?
It's me, Larry. I'm a little low energy tonight, man. Just to
We,
warn you,
we, we're just
it's
getting by tonight. That's what's happening, viewers.
yeah, I'm a history guy and I like watching history. So yesterday started early, the King's speech, and over in England when they open up their legislative period, the King shows up and presents the government agenda, what all the bills are going to pass and stuff, or that
Mhm.
they endeavor to pass. So, and it's all full of pomp and so he rides the carriage and wears the crown,
Right.
and some guy knocks on the door. They go through this whole pageantry thing, and then so I was watching that, and at the same time, Trump's landed in China, and of course, the Chinese
Mhm.
don't do nothing small. So I'm kind of watching this stuff, and then there's drama in England because Starmer's fighting. Well, I think Starmer Chad. At this point, we're going to have to call him Starmer Chad because he's like saying fuck y'all,
He's
bring it,
learning.
put something together, bring it." But over there, the left, they're also soft that no one can, but they're coming up with a plan, and maybe we'll cover that in the future. But anyway, I've been real tired, and then I was about to go to bed, and then Trump pops up last night, and they do the parade, and the kids jumping up and down, and all the Chinese stuff, and Elon's doing crazy shit, and so I was up until like I was up from like 5 in
Taking
the
pictures
morning.
in a circle.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
like the little
got
hot
X.
displays.
He took a little X over, so he's got his kid, and there, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, the homeboy ain't. He the whole thing was fake. This cemented that whole thing was fake. Absolutely, that whole brouhaha from last summer, fake.
It would be hard to be, coming it up, trying to make a good impression with China, with the guy who was like, "Hey, you using the phone?" I mean, it happened either way. That's the crazy thing. It's not like it didn't still happen. This is just all fact in front of. I don't know. I don't know if we
Yeah,
don't live in a simulation there.
yeah, and
But
then the other thing was the response to it, because like on the, if you're anti-Trump or never Trump, well,
mm,
it was just a disaster. The whole thing sucked. He hasn't even left China, mind you. And if you're MAGA and a fan, oh, that was just a brilliant. And of course, the truth is, we're not going to know what the results of this whole thing was for a couple of weeks. You're not going to see until the actions. How does China respond? How do we respond? What actually happens? You're not
mm,
going to see that until something is done. But the narrative war, I mean, the homeboy hadn't even left China yet, and the narrative, it's been a total disaster, or he's the most brilliant thing ever. And I'm so exhausted that it's kind of grinding on me. Normally I'd laugh it off because that's a normal state of affairs with everything. But now I'm just like, bro, homie, fuck. You don't know. We haven't seen anything. It's all bullshit words. It's all fake. There's nothing real.
it's all vibes. That's like honestly, the more we do this show, the more I'm starting to learn. That's our t-shirt. The first t-shirt design is just gonna be vibes in some dope ass text or something. And then the daily hot take on the back, maybe.
Yeah,
Because yeah, that's
but
how everyone's making decisions.
yeah, and dude, whatever. That's what I'm just saying. That there's just there's no time to think. There's no time to truly evaluate. And I guess it doesn't matter, whatever. It's a stated thing. Anyway, I'm kind of it. So I was a little black pilled on that. Normally, I don't black pill on anything, but because I'm so fucking tired, it just kind of got under my skin. I was like, you know what? Peace out. So I haven't even been engaged much in social media. And then of course, fucking Nolan's going to fuck up the Odyssey. Man, I might even do a rant at the end of our show about that. We'll see if we
Yeah,
have enough time.
I've seen the Odyssey trending on X naturally, where people are probably a lot more upset about that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I'm sure we will have time because we don't. I'm sorry, viewers or hundreds of viewers right now. We don't have a whole lot of like meaty videos to go over. We're kind of recapping a lot of stuff that we've missed, including kind of I don't know. Part of it is like Fed jacketing. Is Nick Fuentes a Fed? Is Dan Blazarian a Fed? Part of it is also like I really did like the. If anyone hasn't seen the Steven Crowder Nick Fuentes interview, it was a lot more interesting as far as Cricket actually getting to like the heart of you don't build a movement, Nick. You all you want to do is market yourself. You never try to build any like
Mhm.
what would this is the kind of you actually going to move the ball down the field. And there were several times where it's like if you're a Nick fan, it should be really apparent to you right now that this guy just wants your clicks. Just wants
Well,
the movement handed to him, apparently.
there's nothing real there. Everyone they backed, in fact, they're fighting with the one guy they kind of backed hard. And now they're in a war with that guy who was going up against Vivek. You gotta understand they all hate Vivek, but
Mhm.
that Vivek smashed the quote unquote America First candidate because there's no one there. I mean, they can hate Charlie Kirk all he wants, but he left behind an organization that moves people. What do you think's pushing all these Republicans to redistrict? It's Trump's threat, but it's TPUSA's threat mostly because
Mhm.
TPUSA has proved they can get candidates to run against you if you fuck over the Trump agenda. But what
Right.
at least they have something real. It's real. Nick has nothing real.
What's interesting, something about the way you phrased that reminded me. It's well, that's part of the argument with Dan Blazarian and Nick Fuentes over like who would be a high IQ anti-Semite. Let me pull this part up first, if you would indulge me. This is um, Ian Carroll talking about Dan Blazarian and Nick Fuentes. Pull this up here. Just give me like 3.5 minutes of this clip. You know, obviously throw out puns if you have anything
God,
that hits.
and so he'd be mid-level anti-Semite. He's not
You think
particularly low
so? You
IQ.
think he's
Yeah,
mid-level?
I think he's
Well,
mid.
we're going to re-rank this right now. So, thankfully,
I and actually I hate and I just real quick, I'm gonna throw this in. I do hate the anti-Semite level or the "you're a Fed" label. Again, I hate ad
Mhm.
hominems of any sort. That just means it's a terminator. In other words, I can't have a conversation with you because I've labeled you this, and that terminates any chance of. That's why that was why I kind of like the Crowder thing because I think Crowder disagrees with him highly, and he pushed back and all that. He did all the right things. That's why that conversation at least felt a little more honest. I still
One,
think Nick's
it
yeah,
felt
go ahead.
like if we were even like from my point of view, he was doing the kind of thing where I would also do if I didn't want to make it about like well, if I didn't want to come off as rich in any regard, which is obviously either parties that can be we don't fucking look at all. We would probably approach it from like the real substance of the argument is you were fake, right? Like you were saying, Nick, you're empty. You don't do anything, bro. And
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah,
think he really does well is like I would have said to Nick Fuentes, what if I give you all these helpful things? What if I even provide for a scenario where you're correct on blank, blank, blank? You don't do anything to work towards, like he doesn't have to do that kind of preface because he's just coming from the right. But this is first, okay. So you were talking about intelligence of these anti-Semites for power level.
yeah.
Because
You
I think Ian Carroll might be power level, combination of power level and overtness on his anti-Semitism. I think we're looking him and Candace Owens are the
Hey,
top of the
Kurt.
pyramid. Let's again, we're gonna give about 3 minutes. Pop in anytime you want
And
to talk.
stuff. I'm like, dude, watch the show. I don't know what to tell.
Aha. So what Nick is actually describing is
So, yeah, let's get what do you think?
crazy accusations at Dan Bilzerian after Dan Bilzerian said that he thinks that Nick Fuentes is a Fed. And we've been over this mountain before. We've had this drama several times in the last year. I am less concerned with is Nick a Fed or is Dan a Fed or is anyone a Fed? Far less concerned with that than the undercurrents here, the underlying themes. Far less concerned with I don't give a shit about the drama and who said what and all of that, except for what it lets me get at beneath the surface. The themes of what's happening online, what's happening with the influences that are influencing our kids, our politics, our minds, our thoughts, the conversation around Israel, the conversation around America and America first. It's also kind of funny. I've been thinking a lot about the themes we're going to talk about here tonight. themes about masculinity.
First, before he gets any further there is something very much about saying, hey, any one of us can be a Fed. It's not get stuck on that immediately Fed quoted. Feels like something Fed would say, and I'm,
Hold on,
and
you're breaking up on me. Hold on.
joking.
I'm sorry, you're
no.
breaking up on me. Start what your thing from the beginning. Yeah, it was just you were kind of your audio went real wacky there for a minute.
If it come back in and you're not putting it right now, as long as we're still good to go.
Yep, we're good. All right, go ahead and start again. I'm sorry. What was your statement again?
When he was talking about, you know, when they put up on who might be Fed and who isn't Fed, let's just kind of to the truth here kind of a thing. Totally what a Fed would say. Very, very, Fed behavior there, Ian. And I'm only kind of joking. I don't want to just make it about, you know, anyone can do this kind of game. But also, there's something about Ian Farrell's dead eyes that I do not trust this man. And I also don't trust any of them. I think this might be a CIA plant versus FBI plant kind of thing going on. And we've gone down this trail yet, conspiracy minded people. They might all be feds. Let's let Ian continue.
And leadership, influence, and what you do with it, fame, and what it turns you into. And we're going to unpack them a little bit with a little bit of humor, a little bit of joking. We're not going to take it too seriously. We're not going to, expose anyone for being a Fed. That's ridiculous. I don't care. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't know what this story is, if you don't know what's happening on X today, you're doing awesome. Keep it up. Keep touching grass. Stay off X. It's not a good place. It never is. Dan Bilzerian, yesterday, I believe it was, posted, I think Nick Fuentes is a Fed. And he didn't really post much more than that. He just posted, I think Nick Fuentes is a Fed. Full disclosure, I do know Dan Bilzerian personally just a little bit. Not super well. I'll discuss that a little bit later. I have been to Dan's house, which is relevant to the allegations here, and I'll share about that a little bit. So Dan says he thinks that Nick Fuentes is a Fed.
So he used to run for the monthly Fed meetings in Bilzerian. Says what I'm hearing here, but I'll let him continue.
Nick Fuentes comes back out today and says this, which dramatically escalates the whole situation. And now everybody in the online right, in the JQ communities, everybody.
What's the JQ communities? What is that?
It's interesting, Wes. I've asked this with my own account. Any hot take? What's the JQ community? I don't know what that means. I'll be honest, I think sarcasm there. The Jewish question. It's the Jewish question community.
Oh God!
And the way he so calmly is able to sneak that bit in, it's not even a dog whistle at that point. It's just buried. It's just a little bit of sugar on top of your anti-Semitic language. It's like so overt now. It's crazy. But is that something a Fed would do? Isn't it something a Fed would do is try to make this normal? And man, you can go out and do this, and then they're gonna get you caught. You know, think about it, y'all. Think about it. I want to give them just another minute and a half here.
Is way, and it's interesting.
Oh no, it's just my whole thing is just how small it is. I'm just saying, it's just I can't believe that people are filling their brains with this stuff. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm being judgmental. My bad.
This is not to work on the same thing, but it's going to be one of the 4 things I push during our show. We're amusing ourselves to death. We're not looking for news. We're looking for entertainment disguised as news.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to search for the value out of this whole, like I said. Hey, you know what? One thing they do remind me. Remember Lindsay was on his whole woke right thing. One thing they do remind me of the left is they sure eat each other a lot. And that's a big thing. We always joke the left eats each other. Eventually, you can never be too pure. You can never you will always feel the purity test. The group will eventually, pull you back into the crab bucket. And
I don't know. You get out of line, you're a Fed. You're literally the stallion. You're part of the state apparatus that is trying to destroy us all. I don't know. You're right. I'm trying to imagine living in this world and like thinking this is quality content, uh, but I don't. I
I mean,
can't
I
keep
watched 2
myself
videos. I
from.
watched.
This is 336,000 views in a couple days. The guy has almost, I guess, over 750,000
Oh
subscribers. He's
yeah,
got another
yeah.
following.
I can't argue the numbers. I mean, it
Mhm.
is. Now, I wish
And
we
I
had
don't
a
think
more
you're.
transparency on where those numbers were coming from.
Yep.
I can't throw accusations that, remember, YouTube is a worldwide
We're
platform.
just asking questions. It's legitimately when I talk to everyday people, there are a whole lot of people who, to me, who come across as
When I look for
um,
evidence of it in the real
Ian
world, I don't
Carroll.
see it. I don't see real people talking about Dan Blazarian versus Fuentes. I swear if you took a poll, 20% of people or less would know who they were. And all those people would be under the age of 40 or 50. You know what I'm saying? I don't see evidence
Instantly
of
going to move up in every part of the voting block in this next like decade. When we move into 2030s, especially, and boomers are really dying off. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's why I keep saying this will be your problem, when I'm old and don't care anymore. And you still have, another 20, 30 years to kick around, before you don't care anymore. And so this isn't my problem. And that's what I'm saying. Trump, y'all, or not y'all, I hate doing that. Democrats are going after Trump like he's Hitler. You don't understand. The real Hitler is coming. So if we pendulum back and then you guys and the Democrats pendulum or go hard on power because Trump went hard on power, the guy who comes after Trump is going to be Hitler.
Will we not listen that the guy who comes immediately after Trump isn't Stalin?
Yeah. Well, or whatever. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
Hey, we're in a red state. So we're in a red state and an unimportant state. So that's why I keep my buddy I got 2 buddies in purple states, and I keep joking with them. I was like, well, if we do ever go, if they come back, they swing back hard. I was like, y'all can come here. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, not a whole lot more here. Maybe like another minute.
It's interesting to see what people are saying. It's funny to see what some people are saying. It's enlightening. And you should obviously think for yourself, come to your own conclusions, judge carefully. I want to remind us all of what I said about Blake Bednarz the other day, that, you should be very careful presuming something about someone else's life and stating it publicly with any certainty, because you
See it with a whole lot of uncertainty from the town, baby. That's how you avoid all that fucking messy legal things. You're looking for the truth, and you're asking why something looks weird, and you're in the
you don't know their life, you don't live their life, you live your life. And it's very easy to be wrong about someone else unless you have concrete, irrefutable proof. So to clarify, at no time during this stream am I going to claim that Nick Fuentes is a Fed or that anyone else is a Fed. I don't know. And I don't really care. There are far more salient points that are widely evidenced just by what people do in public, as opposed to secret private dealings with controlled operators and handlers and whatever else may or may not happen. So Nick posts, the first time I met Dan Bilzerian at his house.
So this is like the first minute's preamble or whatever. But to me, it's always very illuminating when someone needs to take 3 minutes to prompt even their audience to look at what the information they're about to show in a certain way. It's freaking illuminating. Watching just even a couple of Ian Carroll videos over the last couple of weeks. I really dislike this guy's approach. He is a little like language, especially in seeing our show gets broadcast to so many people. And I'm the live on the show, and I try to remain cognizant. But this guy can't fucking do it. For people like English or whatever, why would you listen to a moron who, like, it?
He had us put our phones in another room and then asked me how difficult it would be to assassinate Israeli government ministers. Then he invited me to Dubai and Qatar, which I declined. On his way there, he was ambushed by the FBI. Shruggy shrug. All right, so help me understand this. Who would ever go to Nick Fuentes for advice for how to commit violence? Why would you go approach the like 5'3" soy boy incel kid about how to commit violence? Especially
There's physical factor or physical violence necessary in an assassination attempt, right? With shooting, poisoning, all sorts of things. It's such a weird way to not even directly address this. No idea about the veracity of those claims. Not even
Yeah.
address them. And
First of all, I'm going to start. See this whole thing. Let me break it down from someone who has no dog in this fight. I don't care about anyone. I don't even know some of First of all, how you watch Ian Carroll is beyond me. This is the very first time I've ever seen any of his long form content. I thought he was entertaining back in when he did the TikToks, and he would do stuff like what's in the products, and they were.
if you remember his Joe Rogan appearance, you would sing to me. So I don't know if you've seen like his show, but that was the first time I even learned who Ian Carroll was through his Joe Rogan appearance, which I'm sure helped out his audience a good bit too.
Yeah, I actually recommended him to early on because he used to do like really tame stuff. I used to call him a third way thinker, but now I just think I don't know what I think he is. And again, these are all personal. Like he says, I don't know these people at all in real life. None of us know who they are or what they do or whatever. I don't, and again, I don't care. But my thing is, I thought he was interesting. I like things that activate, that make me think. You know what I mean? And he used to do that, and now he's just kind of numb. He sounds like Candace or whatever. It just sounds like talking points. Politicians and news people have talking points. He just sounds like one of them, just in the alternative media. Same difference.
Candace are thick as thieves. I'm pretty sure he came in for Candace when she was on maternity leave. So yeah, they're very much something to go on their messaging for sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, honestly, that should be enough for the guy. Let's bring up.
I can tell you that their influence among mainstream MAGA, I don't know anything about the JQ people or whatever that was in the community. I love how it's a community. Anyway,
Yeah,
why
right.
they even adopted leftist language. But anyway,
They look out for one another in the community,
yeah, it's
It's
weird.
just nice to have friends.
I had a in my fleet, I had someone come up to me and he was like, because we have a very frat kind of, we talk to each other roughly and and he was all like, well, this is no good way to do a community. I said, I don't do communities. This is my fleet. We're a bunch of guys that play together. Well, some girls. And, but, we just play together. I'm not building a community. And I did have a large fleet, it's smaller now. But I mean, I had 150 active players. I was, it was like herding cat, especially gamers. Gamers are very independent. But I'm not building a community. I don't want no group think. I don't got no agenda. I just want to, be able to pull people and run teams and enjoy my game. So I had to go into this. I had to light up this guy about, I don't do communities and I don't get it. I don't get it. It's very Borg-like. Sorry, it's just a rant. Sorry, I had nothing to do with nothing. Go on.
I like it. It's like
my
episode.
Yeah, it's like my anti-victim stance. I hate the whole idea of someone being I would, even if I was a victim of something, I ain't claiming victimhood. I don't know why people want to look weak. I don't get it. Go on. Sorry. I told you I was tired. I got weird brain shit going on tonight.
We need more private Larry rights. It was great. Yeah, but no, here is Steven Crowder's again trying to approach Nick from not even like you're a Fed bro, I'm a better anti-Semite than you, bro. He's trying to legitimately kind of, and I don't know even necessarily what part of the interview this even is. Larry just fed this to me, but I'm sure it's in regards to that of like, Nick, what are you building? What
this? Yeah, I think this is more of a response of You remember when he stated, "I'm a moderate Democrat." His whole thing is to burn it down. He's what we refer to as an accelerationist.
Acceleration.
Go ahead. Yeah,
That
give
end
it
of
to
the war
the
show isn't
yeah,
just like a left, right, top, bottom. It's like a speed thing. They're trying to
yeah.
bust this motherfucker.
Let the left break everything, and then everyone will be in the revolutionary spirit. Is basically the mindset, and I ain't got time for that. And number two, it's so juvenile. It's such a it's so immature. But anyway, it's a very immature way to look at the world. It's not the way the world works, and you're not
It's
going to get
funny. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not going to happen. And it's the crowd that always complains, like, oh, what you want me to change my right through voting? Who has like
yeah,
this fleeting test move that they think is going to freaking work. And you don't
yeah,
understand politics, kid. Go back to
yeah.
Wikipedia. And it's what you do well.
Yeah,
Fuck.
America's not 1788 France or 16 Russia.
It's not
It's
even
not the
1950s America. You know what I mean? It's not.
yeah. But anyway, that's their whole thing. So anyway, since Crowder is more based, although I don't agree with Crowder on anything, but I've been gaining a lot. Remember the very first time he played Crowder for me, and I just cringed because I thought his separation from the crazy town. The new moniker we've been using for him is the retarded right. They're just the retarded right. They've been so isolated now from mainstream MAGA. They're just the retarded right. So yeah, and he's separated. He's not in that classification. Anyway, this is him pushing back on burning it all down.
I really believe that this administration is just cooked. Like, I don't think there's going to be a course correction. I have no faith in this administration. I think Trump is old. The people around him are very bad. And so I think the real question is, and this is a huge question, who will be Trump's successor? Because that person is going to define the direction of the party. And I really believe there should be a very competitive primary for the presidential race in 28. And what they're trying to do is consolidate support around either Vance or Rubio. As I'm sure you know, behind the scenes, there's a very big fight going on between donors and between party personnel. Are they going to get behind Rubio, which he seems to have the backing of the neocons and Mark Levin and AIPAC and Miriam Adelson? Or are they going to get behind Vance, who has the support of Little Tech, Palantir, Tucker, and he's going to clearly run in the more America First lane. At least nominally, he's going to claim that. And I think that we should not have consolidation where it's 80% behind one candidate. I think it should be wide open. I also don't like either Rubio or Vance because I think you get a neocon or a Palantir guy. And so to me, the only way to have an open field is if everyone associated with the administration is sufficiently weakened. So I'm actually rooting for Democrats to degrade and sabotage this administration and the people in it so that they're less politically viable. And maybe that clears the way for a dark horse or an outsider, someone from outside the MAGA, Mar-a-Lago, Trump administration to maybe clinch the nomination in 28. And to me, that's really the big picture.
Okay. So here's my primary problem, what you just said. And it's that keyword maybe. So my first question is the roster. You say, yeah, competitive primary. I agree. I hear who you don't want. The roster, the funds, the ground game. Maybe, right? Because you've tried this before. It's failed. The losses are real with the Democrats that we faced. Though I would argue, I think it'd be tough to argue against, worst 3 years in modern American history. The wins, the potential wins that you're describing are imaginary with no concretes. And I know that you talked about this with Dan Bilzerian, so I'm not trying to sandbag you here, but if I'm going, okay, there's a risk. It's a political play. Well, I won't be able to take part, along with many conservatives, Republicans, because I cannot vote Democrat. Doesn't mean I'll vote for Republicans all across the board. Can't vote Democrat. But the roster, the funds, the ground game, the things that you need to win elections in 2028 through the major risk of handing the country over to Democrats when we know that that means open borders, packing the courts, turning them into citizens, right? DEI back in the administration, H-1B skyrocketing again, all of that. Huge risk, concretes, so we see the payoff.
No, yeah. I would even have a stronger argument. If your whole philosophy is the Jews rule the world,
I really believe
money. Yeah, there's a couple more clips on there that are pretty good too. But if if the Jews rule the world and have all the money, well, first of all, these candidates aren't viable. Every candidate they back that has this ideology got trounced. And so first of all, it's proven that they don't gain traction. You've got to pull normies in. You can have 5,000 views on YouTube, but that's not translatable to. You've worked in electoral politics. That's not what regular people are vibing on. You know what I mean?
No, right.
Left or right. Left or right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just
Blue or
not.
red.
There's such a separation in how like knee deep in this kind of dumb bullshit the politically minded people are compared to just like you said, like the normie folks who just don't want to pay attention to that.
Yeah,
except
I compare it to sports. 80% of I'm a Cowboys fan, so I pay attention to what the Cowboys are doing, off the field, and so and so's moving money around, blah blah. 80% of the people that watch the Cowboys on Sunday don't. You know what I'm saying? The people that are tuning in, there's millions of people that tune in, but if you go to any of the Cowboy YouTube channels, even the largest one, you're going to get an audience of 100,000 or whatever. Your main ESPN shows will pull millions, but even then, it's 4 million, 2 million, whatever. It's a small percentage of the total people that tune in Sunday to just watch some football.
Yeah, exactly. To just watch the game. Yeah. I think this might be an interesting clip.
If we win, well, we don't have enough power. If we lose, well, we weren't in power. It's like, okay, so when do we get the border wall? When do we get the deportations? When do we not go to war with Iran? When do we not spend $2 trillion on the military? Like, that's the thing. So I want to try somebody that's actually going to do what they promised to do.
Who?
Someone will rise up. And you will see. And you'll be very happy.
That's the pitch. It didn't happen in the other ones, but it'll happen this time. It didn't happen in 2020. Didn't happen in 22. Didn't happen in 2024, but it'll happen
22 is an off year. It happened in 2016.
It's about the primaries, but yeah, because you've advocated this or sitting out. And
the leaders didn't pick up in any of these elections, and apparently they didn't. So I mean, what?
And is he referring to Trump? It happened in 2016. Is that a reference to Trump? That an outsider came in and took over.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I guess he doesn't believe Trump isn't singular. I mean, you have to admit, this man. There's something about Trump that makes him very powerful. He's once in a generation man. Whether you hate him or like him, the fact that everyone hates him, in fact, is evidence that he's a once-in-a-generation man.
Right. You may disagree with this assessment. Some on the left have commonly used just the con man label. The way that no one can dispute it is he has a very powerful reality distortion field, right? He has the ability, whether you went to or not, to kind of elicit certain responses in the people. So there's just something of a skill to that, you can't take that away from the dude.
All I know is he's been effective. He's the luckiest man in the world. In other words,
I was good.
Well, no, I was going to say there's the famous saying: you can fool some of the people all the time, or all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Does Trump break that rule?
No.
Huh? I mean, okay, we'll see. But like, for example, when people look at the history of the 21st century, which president is going to stand out when you mention Bush, Obama, Biden, and Trump? Because, just like the early 20th century.
I think that's a different argument than fooling all the people all the time, right?
Okay, but in other words,
misunderstood.
Okay, I'm trying to look for an empirical understanding of how. I mean, I'm in a bad place because I'm not mentally able to form any good argument or good thought
We might
process.
not even be disagreeing. I'm not sure, but yeah, no. It's
just Trump. Trump has come along. He's destroyed the Clintons, the Bushes. He's dismantled everything Obama did during his administration. He's resetting the world, literally resetting the geopolitical structure of the world. He's resetting Europe. I'm just saying this is a very powerful person. There's no. Can you think of anyone else in your lifetime?
There, I
And there's
think that
another one just
power-
coming.
Is that?
And there's another one coming.
That's exactly. Yeah, no, I think we are disagreeing. Yeah, the idea that you can just run one of those off at three, I don't know what he's angling at.
Yeah,
And just
Trump's just grow on trees.
Right.
No.
the line, especially, someone will raise up and you will see. He apparently, I don't know if you watched that full interview, but he at one point says he
I have
goes,
not.
"It's
I
with
have not
different
watched this
people trying to
interview.
get them to run, but we'll see."
Okay. Yeah, and I love that he's waiting for a Messiah. It's kind of Jewish.
That's funny. I'm trying to think of what else I might have hold up. What did you do? I had to do talk about centrism.
That's cool.
I don't really have anything else.
Then
And
go
I
ahead and go
don't
with
have timestamps for
let's
the
talk
thing.
about some centrism.
You talk about
Um,
some centrism.
Yeah, go ahead. You can pull that up. Like I said, I watched that trigonometry interview with this. I didn't know her beforehand. She's some girl who was really deep into progressive politics. She was a reporter, and she was explaining her experience of how um, I would call her a critical thinker now. She changed from an ideologue to a critical thinker to someone. She's still very liberal, holds very liberal, thought processes, but she's no longer, one. Anyway, I would like you to watch that video, and so it attains to centrism,
Mhm.
and in that she's found her middle ground,
Right.
and
Yeah, exactly.
where she can look at both the left and the right critically.
Mhm. And before we move on, here's someone who you might describe as fitting that same mold. And this is related to the JQ community. For some people on the left, this would be described as a math life movement. And for me, it's evidence that, oh yeah, Stu lives in this world and sees the same terminology that I do. And so it ends up slipping into your fifth. And you know, even in the video, if you, it's really funny to me, just you'll notice the JQ popping up in here.
And also, bro, you thirst trap more than I ever have in my entire life. You are on the cover of JQ.
What?
GQ? You are on the cover of GQ.
Funny
This is what
leaflet.
those
I
slip of the
love
tongue.
her.
I do because I'm living in this fucking world all the time or whatever. But yeah, no, I think that was really fun. And I did get to see something that you sent over too was owning his son in a snippet of the video, by the way. It wasn't even the subject matter. It was the whole through on that video. And his son completely crashed out over it. So that was a whole lot of fun. And then getting the reaction vid to the crashing, it was fun as well.
I didn't cover. I didn't watch leaflet cover in this video. I watched the original, the shoe on heads video, and it was a rare one for her because normally she does the scripted. She comes out once a month. She drops her scripted video, and this one was her with another VTuber. But yeah, I love leaflet. We're gonna have to cover the anime, man, because
Is that leaflet right here, the blue hair chick?
Yeah, it's leaflet right there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to
'cause
cover
this,
leaf.
I had only known this clip existed when you sent it over to me. So you've seen this whole thing, right?
Well, no, I didn't send this one over to you. I sent you the original shoe on head. She's reacting to the shoe on head. So you
But
found
wasn't
this
the
one on
thing
your
where
own.
you were like base crossover or something? Was this a different crossover
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, this is a different one because I sent you over the one that was originally that's on Shoe on Head's channel. So you must have had the algo must have served this one to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, the only thing leaflet I ever sent over to you was the where she was reviewing the video with her versus Powder.
There you go.
That's
See, that's evidence of the ego doesn't really just know the way to go. You know, it's seen. I've watched the leaflet video because it's been sent to me once, and I've watched the shoe on head videos before. So it was like, okay, here's the one to feed to this motherfucker. Isn't it scary? Sometimes we think our phones are listening to us. No, we just hand over that information. It's
Yeah.
entertainment is our soma. And we live in a brave new world, not 1984, and it's really fucking scary.
It's like a mix. We live a mix. Yeah, if you want to believe that the elites control everything, they did a very good job of getting 50-50. I love leaflet.
They keep in the middle on their puppet strings. No, this was a video I just learned about this guy this week from a different. Do you remember Wink TV was the first like panel of libs before we watched Live and Learn? We watched the panel talking about his son. At least I know I sent it over to you.
I'm trying to remember, but go on.
But
Yeah, I'll go
this guy was
because
this guy was on panel on a different show, and I really like his take so far. I've only watched a couple videos. This one was amongst them, but I really liked his take, and I thought it was something I think a pretty good summary near the beginning of this video. If it will play.
Lots of people right now are talking about this discourse, and I kind of feel like talking about it too, because I think it gives us some valuable insight. There's this left-leaning liberal podcast called Live and Learn, hosted by 4 liberal streamers. The main reason I know of it is because one of the former co-hosts, Pondering Politics, is actually a buddy of mine, though he's no longer on the show regularly. But relevant to us today is that they recently had the left-wing pundit Taylor Lorenz on their show. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've hated Taylor Lorenz for years. Libs of TikTok might be a disgusting stump of a person, but Taylor doxing her and showing up at her house was fucking deranged. You know what? It's actually kind of fitting these two look pretty much identical, because they're twins in more ways than one. Lorenz's appearance on Live and Learn focused primarily on the content of her August 2025 article published by Wired, titled "A Dark Money Group is Secretly Funding High-Profile Democratic Influencers." Now, if this sounds like it's a hit piece aimed towards the American Democratic Party, that's because it is. Taylor Lorenz is one of those people who is so far left, they view the Democrats, and frankly most liberals, as not on the left. 2 of the Live and Learn guys, Hutch and Soypill, honed in on 2 specific critiques of this article. The first is the topic itself, the so-called dark money group chorus, the content of its contracts, and whether or not influencers should be required to disclose funding sources. This is not the topic we're covering today, though I do have it earmarked for a larger video in the future. The second, though, was surrounding this specific language in the article. Influencers included in communication about the program, and in some cases an onboarding session for those receiving payments from the 1630 Fund, include Olivia Juliana, the centrist Gen Z influencer who spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention. It was Hutch's contention that Lorenz was using the word centrist in a pejorative manner here. In other words, centrist was being used negatively, like an insult or a slur. By the way, this one's going to feature a lot of clips, and a bunch of them are front-loaded, so get ready.
I think if like a reasonable person went to Olivia Juliana's feed and they saw her policy priorities, I think that they would colloquially understand her to be just sort of like a standard Gen Z progressive Democrat who's focused on progressive
is also the reason progressive has come up so much. And somebody was trying to get me to write a story about this recently, which I was like, this is not really my beat, is because so many people have tried to replace the word centrist with progressive. And this has been like a thing that influencers were actually given. This is totally separate from my story. And this is like something else. Maybe I'll write about it. I don't know, probably not. But there is an effort as certain words become stigmatized or have negative, maybe you're saying this has like a negative view with some people, they're trying to use other words. So you see them use the word progressive instead of centrist, the word whatever.
No. I'm not talking about self-assigned labels. I mean, I think most people would look at her policy proposals and think, okay, that's just.
What do you think about Biden, Hutch? I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, so if Biden were described as a centrist Democrat,
Olivia Juliana was a Biden dead ender, so she absolutely is a Biden Democrat.
That does not. No.
Would you describe Biden as progressive?
Hang on, yes.
AOC and Bernie were Biden dead
exactly,
enders,
yes. AOC
totally.
and Bernie Sanders were.
Describe them as Democrat. I guess they're not.
AOC is
they're progressives, right? They're progressives, right? That doesn't make them as centrists.
Isn't that a fascinating little bit of like, oh wait, I'm not going to be able to defend that, and switching over? I would have been, well, they're just Democrats, not centrists. So that was interesting.
I would call them
I'm sorry, hold on. Who's the
If-
influencer they're referring to? I'm not familiar with the name.
Lydia Juliana, we have her on our ranking list because she was one of the people of the Democratic Party. Oh, I was muted then.
No, you.
Sorry. Was one of the influencers that the Democratic Party had hired and recruited to like recruit men right after the election.
Oh, the big girl.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
she is
Okay. I
the
know who they're
secret-
Yeah, I'd
is
call
the-
her. Yeah, I'd call her like regular. I wouldn't call her like a tanky or anything. I'd probably call her a regular Democrat. All right. I now I know the point of reference.
Right, exactly. And it's funny they got so wrapped around the axle in this interview and like everything since on just trying to define even what a centrist is, rather than if it's used in the greater context of both the article and her tweets, subsequent tweets, if it's used in a pejorative sense in the entire like holistic sense. We're kind of maybe getting wrapped around the axle area, and I'm seeing it more and more. And I'm like, damn it, how do we get past this? But yeah, here's.
I mean, political parties are they're a coalition, and of course you're going to always have those that veer to the far end of the horseshoe, and those that veer to the more centrist fat end of the horseshoe. I mean, it's just the way things are. I'm listening to a lot of British politics. What do they call them? They call them soft left. Soft left, I think, is what they call those leftist center people. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if we had a party or a system with multiple parties that could openly negotiate for support rather than making it like a behind closed rooms kind of deal? Ranked choice voting, everybody.
I think 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, because you can look at plenty of the countries that have multi-parties and their systems are just as basket case. Democracy is the worst.
The just as part. So at that point, but
because you still end up forming a major left-right block. So in other words, if you have 5 parties, in order to get to 50%, you still have to form a coalition. So I mean, it's just it's the same thing with extra steps
of the individuals, the single voters, to make it incumbent upon the parties to work harder for their vote. I just believe competition leads to greater things for the consumer, if you will.
But that's how it works ideally in reality, because you can look at Italy, you can look at France, and you have to vote your party, and your party might be left, it might be kind of left, it might be whatever, but you still have to do what your party does, and your
admiring a bit about how their system, unless I was misreading that situation.
Yeah, like for example, in France, in order for Macron to keep power, all the left parties got together. Well, they just vote as one party. They're 4 parties, but they're essentially just one party. They don't think differently than each other. They're just identify different from each other. But in order to hold over plus 51%, 50 plus 1, they have to lockstep march together. They effectively have a 2-party system.
Do you feel like the decisions to be lockstep might make those people at the edges more inclined to swing to the other end of the horseshoe? Like, doesn't that in some way still produce the political push you're looking for to induce change in the system that reacts to the needs of the people?
Macron controls the coalition of parties, just like a president here controls their party. Essentially, de facto, it's the same effect. It's different steps,
with
but it's
the
the
voter
same
having a greater ability to identify where their current needs line up politically with a party. I just feel like it allows for more transparency, at least, or ease of use of the political system, which is something we need desperately.
But ultimately, in order to exert power, you always need 50 plus 1. And, you can identify as 5 different things or just one thing. But ultimately, your coalition has to be 50 plus 1. You just have to have the majority.
Which is still completely what happens in the ranked choice voting, right? You keep knocking out the bottom place until someone has over 50%. So I feel like it's still representative in that kind of a system. But
Democratic socialists, right?
Well, listen, if you had to choose between progressive and centrist to describe AOC and Bernie, what would you choose?
It totally depends on the context of the article.
I
and
feel like you're being
because
a little
Bernie has
evasive
been
there.
because look at what Bernie's been doing with his AI policy. Like I think
Nobody would call him a centrist. Nobody
I
would
wouldn't call
reasonably
him, but I
a
wouldn't
centrist.
call him progressive either on certain things. I don't understand
what these words mean anymore. I mean, like more broadly, you said that there were 90. Did you see a list of 90 people? Is that how many people you saw?
So just to be clear, I understand that you take issue with the way that editors categorize these people, but
that's an opinion, though. You're
we switched it over to I literally defend it. I mean, she's totally a centrist too. I mean, well, this is how editors phrase things. It is them. You know, they'll bring in the original argument and then go, well, I mean, editors are bullshit, bro.
I want to do this though, real quick. Can you name something where Bernie has voted against his party, like during the Biden administration? Can you think of one time where he, kind of like what Rand Paul or Massey does to the Republicans, because they're very libertarian? Yeah, can you think of any time he didn't go along with the group, with the Democratic majority?
I would think something maybe related to Israel. Was that possibly? I'm trying to think of something during the Biden admin he would have been really vocal against.
I'm just saying what he acts like in one world. I don't think there's real world evidence that he's ever done anything different. You go ahead and continue with this. I'm going to pull Grok up and see if Grok's insightful. I'm going to ask Grok if Bernie ever worked against the Democratic Party for something he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an opinion. Well, this is Chuck Johnson saying that us calling him a Holocaust denier is an opinion, or us saying that Tucker Carlson is a right winger is an opinion. All we can do is try to best reflect the ideology that often we use self-described ideologies, but all we can do.
I think she self-describes as a progressive at this point. So that's where I'm a little bit confused.
At this point, maybe, but I would say again, if you ask actual people that are further to the left than her, they will say not. So
well, that's the issue. That's the issue.
Right,
Marla Tankis will call Bernie Sanders a centrist, but it's not accurate.
No, but that's the issue, because I think you're framing your article from the position of like the left.
But I didn't even write that line. So like
well, your name's on the article.
This argument goes on for quite a while. It dominates like an hour of the podcast, and frankly,
it's such a big problem. It speaks a lot more to our issues to communicate in the marketplace of ideas that we can't even get definitions down.
Well, yeah, and that's very important, because if you're not using if you're not using the same definitions, you're not using the same frame of reference. If the definition is a moving target,
right,
you're talking past each other.
Won't even matter.
The more Taylor talks, the slipperier she sounds.
The point is not necessarily whether or not it's accurate to call her a centrist. If this was like the specific pedantic sticking point, I can see this like, oh, this is for. But it's not. What Hutch is getting at is that this article is clearly viewed as, hey, we're painting these chorus people who are taking this money as these kind of shills, these DNC operatives who are just paid to get these talking points and just repeat exactly what the do nothing centrist Dems do, right? And that's kind of where the perspective that he's saying this is kind of like an opinionated.
That's taking a lot from an article that doesn't say a lot, and I don't doubt that that's how TikTokers were taking it, and that's not how TikTokers and people on Instagram threads are taking it. But if you actually read the article, you will see that it is quite clear what we say, and this is not a DNC.
Listen.
This is poor Shelby at the DNC had to kept being like, guys, this is not a DNC program. Obviously, they support the DNC. But the DNC has its own influencer program.
On August 27th, you tweeted, the 90 influencers involved appear to be primarily centrist, pro-DNC,
yes,
who have not spoken about Palestine, are pro-Israel. Those are your words.
Yes.
DNC lady who had to all these hate comments that I probably sent her way. This is so weird, bro. I don't understand the desire from the left to want to educate, be like a provocateur, but not like this isn't even like a big deal, bro. I don't know why you're making a big deal out of this. Like fucking shit, it pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't have a whole bunch to add other than, yeah, I think it's hard for me to follow the conversation in that. I don't know. I don't know. Again, the brain fog's really getting me tonight. But I agree with you. I don't know. I don't have much to add to what they're saying here.
Let's I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes here because I think through his I know there are a lot of clips early on through this, or I'm remembering rather is what
It's
I
kind
should
of
say.
amazing to me, these tiny little arguments that are going off on these worlds. Again, I've been immersed in geopolitical and major, I've been following the midterm, the redistricting and the discussions over that, or the geopolitics, yeah, or the major stuff going on over in Great Britain, where I mean these have implications in the real world. And this one just like the Nick thing we listened to earlier. I mean, I almost have like how is this shaping anything it's shaping a lot in the information space, but is it shaping anything on the ground?
To me, it shapes enthusiasm. It shapes how willing people might be to help candidates from this side of the aisle or the other, and depending on how much they are.
But only your
signaling
most
themselves
engaged.
as an outsider or insider. I'm sorry.
I guess only your most engaged. Again, only 10% of people are plugged in, and then political is going to be a smaller percentage of those people.
It's similar to the contribution curve, right? Where there's only a handful of people who at first you might what's the name? The dude on the far right who had all the theories about like unitary executive theory that people clicked onto for Project 2024 or 25 or whatever. What's his name?
The OMB guy?
Is that
the guy who wrote Project 2025? You mean the guy who wrote it?
Like they took stuff from his like executive theory. Who's the dude?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you know more about Project 2025 than I do. It wasn't a thing.
I know it's
That's
like
why I don't know
related
very
to
much
like
about
the
it.
shit that he's laid out is more. It doesn't matter. We're getting wrapped up around this shit. My brain's all fogged up. Let's give us a couple more minutes here.
Yeah.
But you just said a moment ago you're kind of distancing yourself from that framing.
No, I didn't. What are you talking about?
That's what Toy Pill just confronted you with, and you said, "Well, I can understand why people walked away with that." But those are your words.
I'm sorry. They're centrist. Like again, if Olivia Juliana is not a centrist, and that is factually wrong, and these people are not centrist, and this is factually wrong, that these content creators that are making content with Chuck Schumer, that are making content with Hakeem Jeffries, if they are not, if I was wrong, if this article is wrong and it's factually wrong, then I highly encourage them to ask for a correction. But no one has asked.
Can we do
for
it
a
step by
correction
steps?
saying that they are not centrist.
Every time she's asked for what she means by centrist, it's like another shovelful of earth is brought up out of the hole she's digging for herself. Most
reasonable people, when they look at Brian Tyler Cohen, I don't think they would call him a centrist. I think they would call him a partisan Democrat.
A Democrat. This is a program by a notorious pro-Democrat group running a program to increase the Democrats.
What does that mean? Notorious.
Well, 1630 Fund is pretty notorious. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, it's a
huge.
1630?
Are we talking course?
1630, which is the funder behind all of it, right?
I understand the difference.
1630 is a notorious dark money group. It is literally the liberal answer to the Koch network. I mean, it's very well known. They do a lot of work in the Democrat space.
Listen, that's a separate conversation about like, about like should Democrats do any kind of dark money stuff while this is the letter of the law because of Citizens United.
Sure. Who cares? But we can debate it. But I'm just saying, like, you guys have this thing, like I have to say, it really annoys me, I guess, because like, I think it's very revealing that you don't engage with most of my work.
Wait a second.
Right, and it kind of goes off on a tangent here. Here's the read of this conversation, and most that come after it that I can really tell you that this is part of why the left, I think, struggles to put themselves in a leadership position is because they can't. Why can't Taylor just say, Yeah, sure, it's obvious. When you fucking answer for it, it's a big money fund that could easily be a slush fund for whoever the fuck wants to blare in a megaphone all these create their message through all these creators. Like, I don't know why you can't just stand on your shit.
What's her
It's so
problem with them?
frustrating.
I'm trying to understand what is her issue with them, because if they're giving a pro-Democrat message, and isn't that a good thing? I mean, from the
Look,
point of view of a Democrat.
here's what you just put your finger on. Is what she's mad about is no one on the far left has the money to put this kind of thing together. And if they wanted to get in that group, they would probably at some point be told, you can't just be saying everything's genocide because it doesn't make any fucking sense. So that means India controls you, you see. It's like that's where we're at right now. It's so fucking frustrating, dude. It's so frustrating. Like all roads lead in the populism path, all roads lead back to the protocols of the elders is one. It's
I'm
so
glad
fucking
I'm in a cult. I ain't got to worry about this stuff. I'm so glad I'm in a cult. We just trust Trump. It's just so much easier. I'm happily in a cult. You'll hear me confess it. I'm in a cult. I'm a cult member. It's just like I said, we have our influencers argue and fight, but they're arguing fighting for clicks and audience. They're not fighting for actual power. So it's very interesting. It's interesting to me. I don't see I don't know how you if that is happening. I don't see the problem with it. If you're a Democrat and you're using these influencers to get out the Democrat message, I mean, their purity as progressives, is it that important?
Far left agitator. That's why all the liberals are like, wait, what's your problem here? And her problem is, yeah, but we wouldn't get any of that money. We can't join the program. And you can't just say that. But that's really what the left's problem is here is, oh, but you wouldn't give us money because we're not okay with genocide. Because we say something about a genocide. It's like, well, no, maybe you sound fucking like an idiot, like a maniac.
It's almost a reflection of the right. I mean, like when Nick's like throwing a temper tantrum. I don't got any power. I'm not getting exactly what I want.
You're dead on. It's just so frustrating.
It's talking heads going, respect my authority.
It's also like, I think part of it is it's how people feel like they have an outsized sway over what happens in the world. Is being able to broadcast their opinion out there onto but it always if you don't start with a goal. No, you can't. You got stating it. You got brain fog.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm hoping that tomorrow. Did you want to go ahead and roll tomorrow night? Do you want to do something tomorrow night, or?
Yes. If you don't have anything on your schedule, I would like to.
And I should get a good night's sleep tonight. I know that Trump was going to do there's nothing left to watch. There's no more pomp and circumstance, as far as I know. He's flying out of. Yeah, but I did want to give a sneak peek because I'm going to do my rant tomorrow. But let me pull this up. Yeah, I got something to share. This has to do with my rant I'm going to do tomorrow. And I'll share it with you. Oh, I gotta make sure the damn sound works for you because it never works. You know.
Oh yeah, we gotta check that too.
Yeah, so if it doesn't work, I'll send it over to you. But we'll write it and then we'll do it live. All right, so let me share it. Slow. I had to look for the bookmark. And then go share screen. And give me one moment here. All right, share screen. All right. This is they've taken in Troy. You remember they were Troy with Brad Pitt? You playing Achilles. Well, we got news that what is her name? Or his name? Their name? Zerd's name? What is it? Elliot.
His name's Elliot.
Anyway, this is if he had been in, or he had. I got it right the first time. Anyway, this is if they had been in the movie. I get so hung up. All right, here we go. Did you get any volume?
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, this thing's been making the rounds. 14 million views. Yeah, this thing's been pretty popular. The memes out there about and Sunny Holston on The View saying all Greek culture was black.
Nice.
I'll rant about tomorrow with clips. It's pretty funny. Oh
Like
yeah,
the Greek
that's right.
version. Yeah, speaking
sent
of
me this
views,
guy.
before we go, we'll give this guy a shout out. 1.1 million views for a guy running in Nebraska's first congressional district, which is pretty impressive. But the left is loving this guy.
I saw my parents break their backs every day on the meatpacking line to provide for me and my siblings. I was only 8 when Tyson started the Norfolk plant, so I learned young what big corporations do to towns like ours. They strip them bare and leave them for dead. They just did it again to our neighbors in Lexington, and the politicians who looked down on us didn't lift a finger to stop it. But my mom did what Nebraskans have always done. She took care of the people she loves and did her best to turn the bad into something good. She built a new career out of nothing but grit, gave her kids a better life, and even managed to buy a little house on an acre outside town like she and my dad always dreamed. I never took the sacrifices my parents made for granted. I became the first person in my family to go to college and tried to make my living in the world the right way, uncovering corruption among Democrats and Republicans and taking on the corporations that are destroying our way of life. But the security we worked so hard to build didn't last. My dad got cancer, and my mom's employer collapsed. The executives got paid, and the workers got screwed. She didn't have the heart to tell us, even when the bank took the house. And when she took her own life, the eviction notice was in her pocket. In the darkest moment of our lives, I remembered what she taught me. Take care of the people you love and fight with everything you have to turn the bad into something good. So I took on the bank, and my husband and I got our family's home back. I moved in to care for my dad, who's back on his feet and in remission. I stood up for my grandmother, who was getting cheated by utility and insurance companies, and I helped my brother get his small business off the ground, because that's the American dream and the lifeblood of communities like ours. My family's story isn't unique. Families all across our state are fighting, but the only ones who seem to be getting ahead are the elites on the coasts and the politicians who are selling us out to them. Costs keep going up. Wall Street is buying our homes and renting them back to us, and no one is looking out for the little guy. Nebraskans have always been fiercely independent. It's time our representatives were too.
My name is Austin Allman, and I'm running for Congress to fight for your family the same way that I fight for my own.
It's time we break up the corporate monopolies that are raising prices and stripping Nebraska for parts. It's time we stop paying for all these foreign wars with our healthcare money and stop insurance companies from telling us they know better than our doctors. And it's time we show the billionaires in Wall Street and Silicon Valley who are pitting us against one another that we won't let them steal our way of life out from under us.
If you agree, then join us. And let's take Nebraska back.
What do you think? What are your impressions on that end?
I'm a political animal mode because we just had our primaries Tuesday. It's interesting. He's definitely got going for that rural vibe. The thing in Nebraska who's the Democrat candidate? In other words, the Democrat candidate already has an uphill struggle. Isn't he going to split the vote?
Well, let me pull something else up here pretty interesting. Hold up, this might be
I don't know anything about that district. I've been paying more attention to any two as opposed to any one.
Okay. So let me pull up the full. This is Adam Carlson does whatever it is, Zenith polls. So pull up this stat here. The initial ballot for Chris Backmeyer, it was Eric Moyer, I think, is the dude. He ran like a green energy company who was running in the primary against him. But Backmeyer was a Biden admin, like part of the cabinet in some sense, deputy something. So this is very interesting. In the initial ballot and the post-bio ballot, the Democrat candidate loses 5 points. In the independent candidate's case, after the bio, he gains 10 points. Which obviously it's going to be an internal poll. He's trying to show his viability. But
what's the source of this poll? I cannot believe
Zenith polls. It's definitely an insider poll.
Okay, yeah.
It's definitely right.
One has never gone left. In other words, this poll is saying he's going to pull from the GOP.
Yes.
I don't. I find that incredulous. I'm sorry. I find that incredulous.
Do you believe that Osborne pulls it all from the GOP in the way that Democrats wouldn't be able to?
Just historical. I'm trying to. I don't. When's the last time that district's ever gone Democrat?
1964, which is why Democrats complaining about this guy running cracks me the fuck up. Like this is like a case-up district for them or some shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying that no, I do not see that video appealing.
I'm saying I believe this, like the hidden compared to Mike Flood. What I think is illuminating is just the blue versus green graphs before the bio. And I believe this entirely directionally. I don't care about the numbers, but directionally, I completely believe this. When voters in CD1 learn more about the Democratic candidate, he loses support. Biden, admin, deputy, something. And this kid running down support, almost double the support that the Democrat, like these numbers directionally, or I do not disbelieve it directionally. This is correct. But it's like
one includes Lincoln and Bellevue, correct? Sarpy County.
Correct. Yeah, Bellevue. Most of Bellevue, I think. I think it's kind of a little bit.
Yeah, Mike Flood's a lock. He's a lock. I mean, I'm glad this guy's out there. Again, the more voices, the better. I'm not denigrating him for that at all. I'm just saying, Mike, MAGA is so energized because we want the House, and now it's not going to help in Omaha because Omaha's too blue, and in any two, it's not going to help. The Democratic candidate up there is going to win by at least 4, but down in Sarpy County, Flood's going to win by, I don't know what, I'm not going to put a percentage on it, but yeah.
What's funny is I've just spent the last hour shitting on the far left for not being reasonable when it comes to looking at the reality of situations and how people view shit, or not being overly sloppy-list in the way that they paint certain scenarios. And then something that if we were just a blue no matter who kind of person, I feel like even a year, 2 years ago, I would have felt very different about this than I do right now. And it's Mike Flood won that seat by 20 votes in 24. You may even get mad that an independent's going to try out for this motherfucker. The sense of entitlement that the Nebraska Democratic Party, I tweeted it during the way that I was,
it's just
sleeping. I was thinking about leaving the party. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a valiant effort, but I'm just looking at the realistic how Nebraska works and the politics of Nebraska. In other words, everything statewide is going to. What's that?
Right. It's not even about that. It's when people who are center left present this as a +6 Republican district and not a +20. I started getting radicalized. At first, very gently was going, "Oh well, no, I live near the state. This is a very strong Republican," and Like, it takes 2 attempts to like try to talk any sense to anyone on the internet before you go, oh, why did I ever try that? And you close the fucking app or whatever. Because it's the misinformation. He was being radicalized in real fucking time, Larry. I don't know what else to describe it.
Yeah. It just
other than, like-
Flood's got a pretty good record with it. Just I'm just like I don't think his seat's in any danger. I think statewide ours are going to run everything except for any two. Just like we always do. Just like we always do.
Yeah. Which is why if you were a Democrat and the Democratic Party said, hey, no, you used to be really mad at this guy, you'd probably go, no, it's a really safe Republican seat. Why wouldn't we try some
Oh yeah, it's a great place for experimentation because you have nothing to lose. Yeah, it's a great place to experiment because you have nothing to lose. Yeah, and I don't see a problem with that. I also think it's interesting that the Democratic candidate that won for the senator is dropping out and endorsing Osborne. But doesn't that tarnish his independent? I mean, if there was any Republicans that were, they're going to go, wait a minute, your Democratic candidate is dropping out and endorsing him. Doesn't that de facto make him a Democrat?
The war is going to be the group that's trying to put in a plan. And that
why didn't he just run as a
make it a
Democrat,
fair one-on-one fight? You're just scared to make it a one-on-one fight. That's all.
But why didn't he just run as a Democrat? Because I mean,
You're
that's
scared
literally
to fight a
signaling.
one fight. They're just gonna.
But he would have won the Democrat primary, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So why didn't he just run as a Democrat?
Because he doesn't piss the party. That's what they're going to say. And regardless of whether or not you accept it, it is going to be the he's running because he's not going to caucus with the party automatically.
I think it hurts him. I'm just telling you. I think it because I think it's going to hurt him because I mean he's trying to run away, not run away, but he's no. I mean he's not a Democrat. That's his whole thing. I'm independent. I'm whatever. But when you have literally the Democratic nominee dropping out and endorsing you, that's pretty much saying you're a Democrat. The party says we're getting out of the way.
The DNC chair endorse him. You know what I mean? Like I think those are. It's hard to say earlier in this episode. It's not something that normies would pay attention to, and then be like, "Oh well, this is the Congress." So
in other words, you're just
like
trying
you're
to trick
loading
normies with but you're just trying to trick normies with the independent label.
It could be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean politics. Hey, all's fair in love, war, and politics. But I think it's funny. We'll see how that pays off. I think that kind of dinged him a bit, though, to be honest with you. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then what was the other interesting thing that happened? Oh yeah, of course, the MAGA warrior going down in NE2.
Right. What's all these things do?
Did you vote in the primary? I did not vote in the primary. I'm registered.
I did vote in the primary. Yep.
And did you go with the insurgent? Did you go with the MAGA warrior or?
Spends the MAGA warrior because the MAGA warrior because he agrees with no takes and tips. The other's a MAGA warrior because he doesn't want to disarm the only ally in the Middle East. So I don't know which one's even the MAGA ally. I voted Kavanaugh. No problem with Denise Powell being my candidate, though. I like her a lot. She has good like grassroots energy. Obviously connected to the voter base. She's out there looking doors all the time.
She wins by 4 because Omaha's blue, and they really hate Trump in Omaha.
It's a 6-point win, probably.
Yeah. And possibly more if there's some form of blue wave. Because listen, Trump has 6 weeks. He's got 6 weeks to drop to finish his what do you call it, an excursion into the Middle East. If that mini war, whatever verbiage you want to use. My point being, in the reality, in the that's the information warfare area. And if he gets it done by midsummer, he's fine. But he's got to get the prices down from gas. Gas has to be back down into $3. If that's not the case, Democrats are going to have a good midterms. If he does get it back down into $3, then we have a good ball game. We should definitely be here election night.
May to June July, August, September, October, November. We were 6 months out that. We're here. When
normies don't clue in though until after it's a thing in politics. They don't take a temperature.
Give me an idea, because I don't know this well enough. You're saying was how many weeks? About 6 to 8 weeks to wrap it up from here?
Yeah, he's got to have it wrapped up by the end of July.
But he's got to have it. Okay.
Yeah, end of July, because anything closer, you're getting to that magical Labor Day when people are going back to work, they're going back to school, they're starting to plug back into the rural because they have to. In other words, right now, normies aren't paying no attention to all this little, Dan Blitzerian versus whatever, all this tiny stuff going on. Even the MSNBC talking heads, CNN, Fox News talking heads. Those are for the politicos. I'm talking about Joe Q Public, who tunes in and he makes his decision. And it's going to be what his wallet looks like, how he feels, how he perceives the economy. And gas is a major factor in that.
Absolutely. I think the difference in my prediction, I think, and why I'm already hopeful, like through the roof, especially with all this redistricting shit going on. We don't have to be for him there. But where was I just going to go with this? What did you just say?
Oh, about normies turning in on about him having Iran done.
I do believe that, like through the summer months, a lot of people are taking vacations. So I think there could be pain felt that can't be unfelt by November, even if gas prices are back down. That if it's seen as directly Trump's fault that we got into this war and gas prices were high, blah blah blah, for however long, even if if it gets back down in 3 or so. But that's. We'll have to
I'm just looking at the generic ballot, and right now the generic ballot's floating at a 5, and now with the new structural, I'd say it's about 5. If you look at
you're looking real clear politics, I'm sure. I'm looking at
I was looking at the aggregate, which has some really big plus 11s and stuff in there, pulling that number up. But anyway, if you look at the structural with the new state, like South Carolina is getting on board now. So there's another state, nobody. That was one of the impossible states, according to the bros. It was impossible South Carolina was going to do it. And they're doing it. They're going in session tomorrow to get their +1.
Yeah, special session.
Yeah. And all the court cases have, like Tennessee just got their okay when they got challenged. They got theirs. So they're all going through. Right now, there's only a toss-up of like 12 to 18 now. And Republicans are leading in like 8 of them. Yeah. So right now, it's still in toss-up territory. And it's going to be a lot of, again, perception. Like you said, you could be right where they're blaming it. But if Iran wraps up and it's a memory a month to go, they're going to be taking their temperature of now. We'll see. And we also have going on the 250th birthday anniversary. I remember the bicentennial. So it just depends on how much American fervor gets built up over the summer with this being the 250th. I think that's going to have an effect on the election as well, a psychological effect on the election as well. And if there's anyone who can defy history, well, that would be Mr. Trump. But he only gets lucky, he just kind of stumbles into it. Anyone can do it. Yep. Yeah, anyone can do it. All right.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, we'll be here for the bicentennial. We're going to be here for election day, all that. So like, subscribe.
I really do want to do election day. Now, what do you normally do on election nights? Do you and Molly like watch or doing your other watch coverage? I need to.
And sometimes we've gone over to Mom's. Sometimes we've gone over. I think 24. We went over to Katie's.
I could never.
Yeah, our election night's going to be fire. It's going to be wonderful. But yeah, until that day, dear viewers, keep it real and keep it on the down low. Take it easy.
Good night. That was fun.